Hello. Just teeing everything up here. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm David from the Crypto Clarity Collective. Welcome to DeFi 101. This is where we break down DeFi concepts and explain in plain English every Thursday around noon Pacific. If you're here on Tuesday, you saw me tell the story of losing 3,500 to BitConnect, and we dug into the first 3 red flags for identifying scams. That was Tuesday's show, Scam Review Live. That's where we get into the ugly stuff. Thursdays are different. Thursdays are about understanding, building your foundation, because there's the thing. You can't protect yourself from something you don't understand. And most people in crypto, they don't actually understand what DeFi is. They've heard the word, they've seen the yields, but if you ask them to explain to their mom at dinner, they couldn't do it. So today, that's what we're here to fix. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what DeFi is, how it works, why it exists, and this is the important part, why both incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. And I'm going to show you the real tools, real platforms, live on the screen, not slides, not theory, the actual thing. Let's get into it. So DeFi, decentralized finance. Let's start with what it actually means, because the Wikipedia definition is terrible. Here's the simplest way that I can explain it. Think about everything your bank does for you, and I mean everything, the stuff you probably take for granted. It holds your money. That's your savings account, your checking account. It lends money, mortgages, car loans, personal loans. It lets you exchange currencies. You go on vacation, you swap dollars for euros or the other way around. It lets you earn interest. You park your money there, they pay you a little bit for the privilege. That's what banks do. And they've been doing it for what, hundreds of years or thousands if you go back to trading markets and things like that. DeFi does all of that, every single one of those things. But instead of a bank with a building and a manager and business hours and a 1-800 number, it's code. Smart contracts running on the blockchain, no building, no manager, no hours. Available every second of every day, 24/7, 365. And anyone with an internet account and connection can access it. Now that sounds like a tech pitch, right? So let me tell you why it actually matters. Why this isn't just Silicon Valley buzzwords. The reason DeFi matters, and let me put this screen up, and this is real. $1.4 billion adults worldwide, billion with a B, don't have bank accounts. Not because they don't want one, because they can't get one. They live in the wrong country. They don't have the right ID. The nearest bank is 50 miles away. Whatever the reason, the traditional finance system said, you're not welcome here. DeFi doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care where you live, and it doesn't check your credit score. All you need is a phone and an internet connection. That's it. And you have access to the same financial tools as someone on Wall Street. That's not nothing. That's revolutionary. And I don't use those words lightly. Number 2, transparency. When you put money in a bank, do you know what they do with it? Like, really? They lend it out to who? At what rate? Taking what risk? You have no idea. You just trust that they're being responsible. And we all saw how that worked out in 2008. In DeFi, every single transaction is on the public blockchain. Every dollar, every loan, every swap. You can literally trace where your money goes, who's borrowing it, what interest rate they're paying, and what the collateral they're putting up. It's like if your bank had a glass walls and you could walk in and look at their books anytime you wanted. Is it complicated to read? Yeah, right now it is. But transparency is there. It exists. That's fundamentally different from traditional finance, where you just have to trust that the people in the suits know exactly what they're doing. Number 3 is yield. This is the one that gets people excited. And honestly, this is the one that gets people in trouble too. But let's start with the exciting part. Your savings account pays you what right now? 0.5%, maybe 4% if you have a high yield internet banking account. Let me do this there. DeFi protocols, legitimate ones, the ones that have been running for years, routinely offer 5% to 20% on stablecoins. Stablecoins meaning coins pegged to the dollar or euro. So it's not like you're betting on some volatile token going up. You're earning yield on what's essentially dollars. And here's the difference. You can see where that yield comes from. On Aave, a lending protocol, the yield comes from borrowers paying interest. On Uniswap, a decentralized exchange, it comes from traders paying fees. It's not magic, it's math, and you can verify it yourself. Now, I said there's a catch, and there absolutely is. That's coming up. But first, I want you to understand the potential, because the potential is real. Okay, so here's the dream. Access, transparency, yield, sounds amazing. And it is amazing when it works. But here's the thing no one tells you in the YouTube ads and the Twitter threads, hyping DeFi and tokens. Here's the part that cost me thousands of dollars of my own money, and I had to learn it the hard way. The exact same thing that makes DeFi powerful, no middleman, no gatekeeper, no authority, is exactly what makes it dangerous. In DeFi, if you send your money to a scam contract, and there are thousands of them, it's gone permanently, irreversible. There's nobody to call. There's no refund button. There's no customer service or FDIC. Your money went into a smart contract that was designed to steal it, and the person who wrote that contract is anonymous and probably already moved your funds through 3 different chains. That's not hypothetical. That's yesterday. That happens every day. Let me give you some numbers. And these are the official numbers. The real ones are probably much worse. In 2025, 6 billion plus lost to crypto scams. Again, billion with a B. Over 2 million people reported being victims. That's an average of about $2,800 per person. And that's just the people who reported it. Most people don't because they're embarrassed or they don't think anything will happen or they don't even realize that they've been scammed. The real numbers are probably double or triple that. And look, I'm not telling you this to scare you away from DeFi. I'm telling you because I've been one of those numbers. I've personally lost thousands of dollars across multiple instances. And I'm not a noob. I've been in crypto for 12 years. I work in tech. I literally helped build blockchain analysis tools and integrations for some big corporations. If it happened to me, then it can happen to anyone. So when someone on Twitter says, just do your own research, DYOR, I have a real problem with that. Research with what? What framework? What checklist? What tools? Most people don't know what they don't know. And they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what a healthy token distribution is. They don't know what a dangerous one looks like versus a very liquid pool. They don't know what a realistic yield is versus a Ponzi scheme. And it's not their fault. Nobody taught them. That's literally why I started the Crypto Clarity Collective. That's why I built the 12 Red Flags framework. That's why I send out a newsletter 3 times a week. That's why I'm putting the link in the chat right now. I want to show you the real tools, the real numbers, and actually take you through what all of this looks like. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let me switch screens here. Let me show you some of the tools. This is Uniswap. This lets you swap tokens. This is a decentralized exchange. Before I go there, let me talk about exchanges. A centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance or Crypto.com works a lot like a bank. They have book orders where they match your buy requests to a seller that wants to sell the token, and it works just like the stock markets. But the problem with exchanges is they own your crypto. They're the bank. And just like the bank in the US or anywhere in the world, they hold your money and you trust them. That's the same with centralized exchanges. Remember FTX? That was a centralized exchange. There's nothing that we could do. There's no FDIC for these exchanges. Decentralized exchanges is where you're taking your crypto from your wallet and you're doing the exact same things that are happening on those centralized exchanges. So they're certainly safer, and that's your crypto, and nothing can happen to it if you don't do anything wrong with it. So back to the first decentralized exchange. If you ask anybody about a decentralized exchange, they're going to tell you Uniswap. Uniswap is as big as it gets. It's on every chain. It does all of the things, and it's made a reputation of being a quality product. On Uniswap, you could trade. You could swap tokens from one coin to another. You can set limit orders. You can buy and sell whatever you'd like. There's all of these tokens that are available on the platform. There's auctions, which is a new thing, a way to launch your own token. This token has 3 days left that you could buy it before it goes live, hopefully. There are pools. Pools are the bank, the trading venue for DeFi. Liquidity pools are where you as a user deposit a pair of tokens to a pool. For example, USDC and Ethereum. You deposit those two tokens and they just sit there on the blockchain for people that come and trade. Then someone comes and wants to trade USDC for Ethereum. They do it within that pool, and whoever has deposited funds gets a little piece of the fee that they charge, which is a very small number. The pool adjusts automatically based on supply and demand, and the people who deposited tokens earn a cut of every one of those fees. That's the incentive, and that's why people do it, and that's why you see big yields. If we look at these yields, look at this pool, probably a very small range. You can get 118% APR, and it has a lot of volume. See if we can dig in a little bit on that pool. I don't want to get too deep, but that's quite an attractive APR for a stable coin and a pretty established crypto, Ethereum. There's a lot of different pools that you could be a part of. You can, you can use this tool. I'm going to get there later. I'm not going to go there now. This is a decentralized exchange, and that's really what I wanted to show you. So that's exchange. Buy, sell, do everything that you could do at the bank, provide liquidity and earn the fees on all of the trades. That's a function of a decentralized exchange, as not a centralized exchange. So the second thing that I want to go over is lending. The other option is you can lend and borrow just like you can in a bank. Aave is the Cadillac of lending and borrowing on the blockchain. And Aave is a very professional tool that's established and been around, trusted. The contracts are audited regularly, where you can lend your tokens. And you can see that if you lend Ethereum, you can get 1.9% APR. That's not so much, but there are some, again, the global dollar, which is pegged to the dollar for 7.5%, or this Curve Finance stablecoin for 3.22%. And that's just for lending it. The real part of lending is that then you have something that you could borrow against. Lending and borrowing is a gigantic part of the blockchain and a great way to help yourself do a lot of the things that maybe you can't do in traditional banking. Let me look at my notes, see if I'm forgetting anything. This is a big deal. I think that you can see that the transparency, which is a big part of everything that I'm talking about. If you want to borrow money, you can see that they're showing you what the borrow APY is. So I'm sure you can find tokens here that have, you can supply this global dollar coin and borrow the euro coin, and you'll be making that delta and have this money to do what you'd like with. So banks don't show you this information. This is the magic of the blockchain and of DeFi. Again, it's math and not magic. Let me show you this tool that I love. This tool is called VFAT. It's a DEX aggregator and a tool where you can research a lot of different things. It works from EVM chains, which are Ethereum virtual machine chains, which are most of the chains you've heard about, with the exception of Bitcoin, and maybe you're familiar with Solana. That's not an EVM chain. But these are some of the pools that are available here. And if you look at average APR, you could see some pretty crazy stuff. 15,000%, 4,000%, 2,000%. And some of these are with pretty stable coins. If you look at this, Wrapped ETH and Coinbase Bitcoin is serving 1.57%. And we could look and see that that's a range of 4%. And if you wanted to, you can connect here and buy right into this pool with one coin or multiple coins or however you'd like. And it doesn't matter if the project is on Base or on, let's look at the protocols or the chains. It could be on any of these couple dozen chains. It could be on any of these protocols. And if the pool is publicly available, then it's available through VFAT. They charge a very small 0.09%. And if you use my link to get there, you'll get a little bit of a discount on the fees for the first 30 days, and I'll earn a couple of pennies. So let me put that in the chat. VFAT is a DEX aggregator, and there are plenty of DEX aggregators. This is the one that I find has the simplest interface, the easiest tools to use. I can set my ranges if I am using V3 tools, and it works out pretty well. That might be a lot, and I'm sorry if I'm stumbling, trying to figure out, where the balance is between DeFi 101 and getting a little too deep. So I'm sorry if I have. But let me just tell you, VFAT is my favorite thing for a few reasons. One is the discovery. You can find pools. You can search by APR. You can search by TVL, total value locked, which is a very important part of all of this. This pool at 18% is quite legitimate, and I think I actually have a few dollars in it. And 18% is pretty fantastic. Here's a couple of different versions of Ethereum, wrapped Ethereum, and whatever MS Ethereum is, earning 66%. That's quite a correlated pair, and maybe a good thing to look at. And I'm going to, matter of fact, star that and keep my eye on it. We'll talk about it again, hopefully. K2 is a comparison. Is 8% on Aave a good deal? Well, if I can look at Compound and see if that's better, then maybe I need to, always do my research on where the best aggregators are, or I'm sorry, blending and borrowing platforms are. Whoops, I'm not going to find it now. And I just want to point out, look at these crazy yields. This is just opportunities. I would suspect that this 15,000% APR is not really a very good value. Either nobody's trading on the chain, or nobody's trading the token, or it's on its way down and out. There is impermanent loss in things. If you put in memes coin and wrapped Binance coin, wrapped BNB is what this is, and the memes coin goes to zero, you're going to have all memes coin and no wrapped BNB, and your value of your position will be very little. It'll be out of range. You'll be earning no fees. So be smart and be careful. Feel free to, another tool that I'm going to show you before I'm done here is the scanner that I built, where you can go to this very pool. Let me switch that back. You can copy this address. We'll save that for later. DexScreener is another valuable tool, not unlike VFAT, but you'll see a lot of different details, and you can draw lines. You could figure out ranges. You can do a lot of cool things on DexScreener. Might be a little more advanced, but something that you'll want to bookmark and know where you're at with it. I'm going to show you the tools from the site. If we go to DeFi opportunities, my DeFi scanner is free. Sign up for the newsletter, and even the free version, you get 3 free scans a month. You can take this pool address that we took from VFAT, this WBNB and memes, took the address, and we can run that audit. This will take about 60 seconds, but this is going to run a test on all 12 of the red flags that I have written about in my book, that I preach about in my videos, that I preach about on my site, that it used to take me an hour to look through all 12 of these things about each of the tokens in a party. And now I can do it in 60 seconds. You can see the current price is a thousandth of a penny. It's going down. There's very little liquidity in this pool, and the volume is much less. Usually you want the volume to be at or above the liquidity. 145 transactions in a day, and the pool is brand new. It's been around for less than a day. The risk score is 9 out of 10. Sustainability is higher than I thought, but the recommendation is to avoid. Here's the 12 red flags. None of them are green. It's an unverified contract, meaning that the smart contract hasn't been audited or can be validated. Anonymous team, we don't know who's running it. They're either, they don't want to be doxxed, or maybe that's part of the plan. No liquidity, we talked about that. I don't need to go through all of these, but to show you that there's a really good tool that I've built that is available to all of you. You can find the pool here. This is the DexScreener we talked about. You can see the trajectory and how this pool has been going for the last day. This is a 15-minute chart. It popped up, and now it's just sinking its way probably to zero. You can find a lot of the information, and you can always use this link in the scanner, DexScreener link. If you can't find it on VFAT, or you're looking somewhere else, you can put the whole link. You don't need just the address, and it'll run. So that's VFAT, that's DexScreener, that's everything that we're here to talk about. That's my scanner, which is the star of the show, right? So now I hope that I'm able to share with you a little bit about DeFi. I hope now when you're sitting at the table with your mom, you can explain a little more about what this all is about. It's banking without the bank. It's lending, borrowing, exchanging, earning yield, all running on code instead of institutions. That's the core idea. It matters because of 3 things: access, anyone can use it; transparency, everyone and everything is on chain, and yield. The returns are real. And when they come from a real source, it's verifiable and identifiable. It's dangerous because there's no safety net, no FDIC, no refunds, no customer service, and billions of dollars get stolen every year because of that. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to help you be safe, to be diligent. And the more diligent you are, the better it is for everybody. We looked at 5 real tools today. Uniswap for a decentralized exchange, Aave, a decentralized lending and borrowing protocol, VFAT, an aggregator that lets you compare and see the real yields and research different pools, DexScreener, a valuable tool for charting, and if you are doing big analytics, it's a great free tool, and the Crypto Clarity Collective scanner, which I hope that you will all sign up for the newsletter and take advantage of the 3 free scans on demand. If you're a premium member, which is currently $9 a month and going up very soon, you get unlimited scans. And you also get access to other market intelligence and valuable tools, including early access to streams and interviews. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. But here's the thing I really want you to take away from today. DeFi isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool, like the internet. The internet gave us Wikipedia. It also gave us phishing emails. DeFi gave us Aave and Uniswap. It also gave us BitConnect and rug pulls every day. The difference between the people who thrive in DeFi and the people who get wrecked, it's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's having a system, a framework, a checklist, something that sits between your excitement and your wallet. That's why we're here. That's what we're building. Every Tuesday, the red flags. Every Thursday, DeFi 101, brick by brick. 3 things before I go. Subscribe if you haven't. Tuesday and Thursday, noon Pacific. Next Tuesday, we're covering red flags 4, 5, and 6. Fake partnerships. Those are the wrong ones. 4, 5, and 6. 2, try the scanner. The link's in the description. Sign up for the newsletter. Make sure that you get to the site and check it out. And 3, the newsletter is the hub of all of it. You'll get updates. You'll see what's going on. Every Monday is a fundamentals newsletter and stories and thoughts. And every Wednesday is DeFi risks and rug pulls. And every Friday is a DeFi deep dive into a different protocol. And I share my little portfolio that and update what's going on. So I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for helping me stumble through my episode number 2. And I hope that I see you all on the other side. Stay safe out there. And thank you for your time.